Yeah. Damn, kid, always down. While my chin always pointed to the ground. Hang my head when I'm walking around. I wipe tears from my face on my bathroom towel. Until a typhoon came through when I met you. Cloudy days, let the sun through. Now I smile at the sunroof, yeah. Maybe I'm crazy, I'm out of my mind, but nobody makes me come to life like you. Said everything that I do, just know I do it for you. Maybe I'm stupid, ignoring the signs, but you're on my brain like all the time. It's true that even when I dream, just know I'm dreaming of you.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. The Alex Cuesta Show, Hangout stream. How is everybody doing? It is, what's today? It's Sunday, March 1st. We made it past February. We're into March. The weather hopefully is going to start coming up over here in the Northeast. It's crazy. I saw, they always give like the 10-day forecast. And I was looking at it. I always like to scroll ahead to just kind of mentally document everything they're about to get wrong. And I was looking at next week, and it's like from Sunday to Tuesday of next week or something like that. It's going to go up from like 56 to 68 to like 76. It's like 10 degrees higher each day. And then I look at my wife's phone, it's completely different. So, moral of this story, they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. But, tangent already. Hi, everybody. Wherever you're watching from, YouTube X, Facebook, Kick, or Rumble. I appreciate you. Make sure you smash that like button and you follow or subscribe if you have not already. It has been an interesting time. I was on Wednesday with one of my friends, Ellie Amani, and she's awesome. Fashion designer, survived some crazy shit. So she's someone that I highly recommend you go back and watch that show on Wednesday. We have a fun one coming up for you this upcoming Wednesday, so I'm pumped for that. But today is going to be, I don't know how this is going to go. Obviously, I'm doing a Hangout stream for the first time in a long time. It's been about half a month. And shit's gotten crazy for me, like I mentioned over on Wednesday. The personal life kind of went nuts. There's been better news. So things are looking up a little more, so I can kind of take the time to come and jump on and do these types of things outside of just a regular show. And my track and field show on Mondays, Talking in Ovals, be there at 9 o'clock to go talk to the best track athletes on the planet. But I can now come hang out again and do a little bit more, and things are still in the work in the background. Some new stuff popping up in the very near future, but this is what I got going on. So I appreciate everyone out there that has stuck with me, that has watched. I've missed a lot. There's been a lot of things going on. So I want to just kind of roll through some of the old stuff. Today's also going to be a whole lot of me also ranting and raving, because there's been a lot of news, but there's been a lot of things that I need to talk about. People are stupid. That's kind of the gist of it. People are stupid. And there's been so much with the people on the right. Obviously, leftists are crazy, but they've talked about an internal civil war going on, and you're starting to see, as things go on and more happens, it's less of a civil war. And like I said, this is just a natural breaking up of the coalition. I've said it before. Oh, why am I in there as Dave? I'm not Dave. Dave, what are we doing here? I'm Alex. Sorry, other people use this, and then my name doesn't get put back correctly. So there we go. Boom. I'm back, everybody. So, but yeah. So we'll be chit-chatting. But let's get to some of the stuff that I have missed here. So first things first, Rupert Lowe, who was the MP, the parliament member over in the UK, who tried to get the grape gangs bill to go through and it got shot down, has decided that enough is enough. Now I'm going to mute this as I make it bigger because I don't want to hear it talk, but I just kind of want to play the background. Maybe we'll get a little closed captioning going on here if they have any. No. But regardless, oh yeah, there's some right there. So we'll have this playing there. So here's the thing. TLDR of what he says, a 7-minute video. He's basically tired of the bullshit. The Tories over there, the conservatives are awful. They don't do their job. They've had control forever before Starmer, and they've made things worse. Obviously, Labor and the leftists are terrible. But then there was Reform, and Reform has been starting to gain a little bit of power. That's Nigel Farage's group. But the problem is Nigel Farage is a cuck. And he's already coming in and signaling that he's going to be weak on immigration. We need to start just getting used to it. And now Lowe over here is like, fuck that. So we starting Restore Britain, the party. And I think this party is going to be fire and is going to cause such a stir amongst the British people because they're tired. They're tired of just being an economic zone. They're tired of having so many people just coming onto their small island and taking over. They're tired of British people who have thousands of years of history, going back to your Anglo-Saxons, just being pushed out and being told that they have to accept it. So Lowe is starting his own party. And you could see there the business, family, medicine, education, industry. They're going to cover all sectors. And I think we've heard this before, but America always follows a few years behind, maybe 5, 10, 15 years behind what's going on, especially over in Britain. But I don't think that's true anymore because I think that as we go on and technology goes on, things start to move faster. And I think our following trend line behind Europe is going to start going faster. And what's going on there is happening here. It's happening here. I was listening to Glenn Beck the other day. I mentioned that Peter Schweitzer has his new book out talking about how the Mexican government has been intentionally sending people over here illegally, intentionally sending Mexicans to the South illegally to kind of re-infiltrate the South and claim it again, the land that they lost in the Mexican-American War. And he reveals in his book that they're being told to never truly assimilate. They're being told to continuously and always fly that Mexican flag. Don't truly learn English. Keep Spanish. Keep saying you're Mexican and not American and things like that. And we're going to come to a point where we need to make that decision as well. Now, obviously, Trump has done a really good job closing the border. And I think we all wish deportations would be faster. But with a closed border, it's all just now, in the plus with the deportations. We're getting them out in the plus. There is no negative cutting into that of people flowing back over. So I think I know there's a ton of criticism with a bunch of the Fuentes loving losers, but they're all like, oh, we're deportations are under. And it's like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. The border is closed for the first time in like 50 years, if not longer. And I know the Pause Act is over in Congress and it's going to be big. I know Chip Roy did something talking about the Pause Act the other day where it is, and it might have been Friday. And and Pause Act is basically we're going to put a major pause on all immigration, asylum, refugee. I didn't see the time frame, but I'd be for that. We have to. Caveat Ties hanging out saying I'm American, ... and save the Pass Act. I think you mean the Pause Act, but yes, I don't know what the Pass Act is either. Or Pass the Save Act. I don't know where you're going with Caveat. You might be going a little dyslexia there on me. But yeah, so just long story short, I think that Lowe is going to be very successful over in Britain. I think we're going to see Restore Britain party rising up massively. I hope he continues to have the stones. He's been really strong for a long time. So I think he's going to have the stones to say what needs to be said, do what needs to be done, do what needs to be done, and get this over the line because Britain needs to be saved. They are being infiltrated. We're being infiltrated. Caveat saying yes, bad joke. I get it. We're being infiltrated, and it's not just by the Mexicans. It's also by other countries, Chinese, Middle Eastern. We're being infiltrated from the inside out, and the one thing that the quote unquote heritage Americans um, have right is that we do need to protect the Americans. Caveat I saying jokes don't land very often in chat. It's hard to read them that way, caveat, but I keep trying to. I appreciate your attempts at continuing to try. So yeah, so that is what you call Rupert Lowe. He's doing some great stuff there, and I'm hoping that we don't have to follow in his footsteps because I just want to first, real quick, we're going to pause that, bringing myself back up here because that leads me into something else. So maybe I'll get this up. The other day, I put up on X under the Alex Cuesta Show account, if I can get to it, that I would like Mike Lee to, and why do I repost so much stuff? Mike Lee to call in for a standing filibuster. And I think that we need to, here we go. Boom. Let's share this. Let's bring this up. Because this is what I said the other day. So I said, I'm calling on, and I added base Mike Lee to hold a press conference with all the co-sponsors of the SAVE Act to let John Thune know that the caucus is not divided and they, along with the rest of their constituents, want to force a standing filibuster. Now, for those that don't know, a standing filibuster, what it is right now, the way that Congress works is they could do what's called a zombie filibuster, where a bill is on the docket. Someone can basically call in, email in, and say, "Hey, I want to filibuster this," and they're like, "Okay, we don't think we're going to have cloture," which is 60 votes to move on and vote on it. So therefore, it's going to wait. And cloture has been a big way to also force a 60 vote threshold and to make it so that all of them have 60 votes. What the standing filibuster does is it forces the opposition to have to filibuster. They have to stand and they have to speak. They could speak for as long as they want, and each opposing person can speak twice. So in theory, there's 40, what is there, 44 on the other side, 45 on the other side. They can speak as long as they want for both of them, but we know they're a million years old, so they're not going to speak for very long. So, and John Thune has been very resistant to do the standing filibuster. So let's keep going here. This will force the leftists to talk about why they don't want to do the will of the people and get this passed by a majority vote, which after the standing filibuster is just a majority vote that gets it. And JD Vance would probably be the deciding vote. I've said here, I need the co-sponsoring senators to let Mike Lee know that you are behind him and willing to send this message to Leader Thune. Your base and the American people want this. Will you pledge to stand next to Senator Lee and demand a standing filibuster? And I added and tagged all the senators here. So if your senator is here, please make sure you repost this and at them as well and put it in the comment. Let's get this past the finish line, because I think this is something that's incredibly important that we get. And I think we need to put the pressure on these individuals. And we've seen that putting the pressure does work. So this is something that's important to me. Now, with that being said, this has to be the measuring stick and the last straw for the GOP here. Because if they do not pass the SAVE Act and they force Trump, he's going to do it via an executive order, which will then have to go through a long review because there's going to be a judge that blocks it immediately. And then they're going to have to appeal. And I really think that John Thune is slow walking this so that it will be close enough to the election that Trump will do um, a executive order, and then it will get blocked by an injunction. And then after it gets blocked, the elections will go on and it's done. And then the Republicans officially lose power. And now John Thune could say, oh, we didn't have time. We needed to do the work of the people. And then nothing happens. Because at that point, when the power fully shifts, you bet impeachments are going to happen and everything. Like it's going to be a shit show. The SAVE Act will at least put this next midterm vote on a balanced playing field. And even if they do lose, it won't be by these massive numbers that we're about to see. Because I think regardless of what performance Trump does, having our system the way it is shows that there are too many issues in voting. I'm not saying that there's a ton of illegal fraud and things like that. But what I am saying is that forcing people to at least show that they are citizens of this country and not just asking for their fucking address, which is what happens over with me over here in New York, is they just ask for my address, I sign for it, and then I go vote. But at least if they're forcing you to at least show your ID, which almost everyone I've ever met has an ID. Everyone. I've never met a single person in my life that doesn't have a form of a photo ID. And I know there's people screeching about birth certificates. I can't find my birth certificate. If you lost your birth certificate and cannot figure out a way to get it, then you shouldn't vote. You're too stupid. You are too stupid to vote, period. You don't know if you cannot figure out the process with the internet today of going to go get your birth certificate again, then that's a you problem, not a me problem. That's number one. And then they are trying to kowtow to women, saying, women, if you change your name, how are you going to figure it out? And I know a lot of conservative pundits and people on the right have said this, but it's true. They think their base is stupid. They think the women of their base are stupid. They think the minorities of their base are stupid. And here's the thing. If you are a woman or a minority in the base and you are parroting their dumb shit, then you are as stupid as they think you are. You're an idiot. And the thing is, though, the fun thing is the ones that are yelling about this stuff aren't the idiots. They're the ones that know how to do all this stuff. They have an ID more than likely. They know where to get their birth certificate. They know how a marriage license works. They know how to show multiple forms of ID, blah, blah, blah. They have it all set. What they are trying to do is to propel this message from the leadership because they understand that their way of life, what they are trying to do with their philosophy, will only be pushed further if they can get their idiot class of voters to listen. And it's nefarious. It's nefarious. If you're an awful and you're parroting this bullshit, you're not the one that they're targeting. You know how to go and do these things. Typically, you've put your kids in different clubs and things like that, which you've needed to find a birth certificate, your kid's birth certificate, social security, all of that. You have done school registrations. You have done camp registrations. All these types of things. And even for yourself, when you go to the DMV to do anything, you need to show your 19 forms of ID. You can find that when you need that. Which, again, sometimes it's a little bit iffy. Oh, is this your maiden name? Is this that? You figure it out, right? This is the only time you feign to not figure it out. And it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Caveat is saying they think everyone is stupid. That's why they need to, quote, power to take care of you. Yeah, and the thing is, the useful idiots that parrot their stuff are the first ones that get thrown under the bus every single time. So the bottom line is, the SAVE Act is not complicated. The SAVE Act is something that should be done. Every sophisticated, you know, they always talk about, let's be like Europe. Let's be like Europe. I don't think there's a single European nation that doesn't require an ID to vote. Not a one. Not a one. And most civilized countries, if not all of them, require an ID to vote. Because they want to make sure that the people deciding their elections are American citizens. Now, the way the census is working, the deportations are going to help that because the census counts everyone, not just citizens. And when you shift away a lot of the illegals and you take out the illegal individuals out of this country, it is now going to shift where the electoral votes go and make it a proper representation of the people and the American citizens. They don't want that as well. So the next step here, and the next thing I'm going to say, is going to be something that might piss some people off. If the Republicans do not get the SAVE Act across the board, there's a good chance I'm out. There's a very good chance I'm out of the Republican Party. This doesn't mean I'm going to go conservative. This doesn't mean I'm going to go libertarian. What we do need is a new party. And not a third party, a replacement party for the Republicans. Just like the Whigs before were replaced by the Republicans, and why? Let's go through some history here. The Whigs were very much in the whole small market vein, small government vein, everything like that. They were the opposite of the Democrats in terms of political philosophy and economy and stuff like that, but they both supported slavery. The Republicans came about because while they shared a lot of the same qualities as the Whigs in terms of how to govern, they were not in support of slavery. Hence, they broke off, and their popularity of being against slavery in the North especially skyrocketed them, and they took over the Whigs. The Whigs became a dead party. This should be the death nail of the Republicans. If they cannot get this through, we need a replacement party. And here's why. I don't believe in third parties. I think our two-party system, I've said it on the show before, I defend our two-party system. The duopoly is a good thing. Everyone likes to complain about it because they can't get their own piece of the pie. The libertarians often complain, but that's because, for the most part, when it comes to national level government, libertarians are unserious people. I like libertarians on the local level. I even can like it on the state level. When it gets to national level, where they have to decide foreign affairs, they're utterly ignorant of foreign affairs and geopolitical policy. They are not to be trusted there. And again, I like Thomas Massie a lot. I like Rand Paul a lot. When it comes to strong arming and standing up for fiscal responsibility, for making sure that we're staying true to the Constitution, dope. All in, right? I like them. We agree on most of those things. When it comes to foreign geopolitical stuff, they're utter fools, and it's voluntarily. Either they decide that that the Constitution somehow makes them an isolationist, or they know and they're just be like they don't live in reality when it comes to foreign affairs. So that's, to me, that's a big deal. That's a very big deal when it comes to that, and hence why the libertarians as a third party don't work. We would need a full replacement. Because I want to keep the duopoly. I think it's a good thing. Because if you, like I've said before, I'll just do a quick thing. If you look around at all the other democracies with the representations in the world, representative democracies, they're a fucking mess. Because they do percentages and stuff like that. And any party that gets a certain number will get a percentage inside of their parliament or whatever it is. And they are always a mess. Because why? Because sure, one of the major two parties will usually get their representative to go in. It's usually still the biggest two parties percentage-wise will be the ones competing to get the prime ministership, presidency, whatever it is. But then once they get in there, they need to do what's called forming a government. And that only works by getting a lot of these other mini parties that generally agree with you to form a coalition and agree to form a government underneath you, saying that they recognize you as the winner. If they don't do that, then you need to have another election. And there's a lot of deal making and shit behind the scenes to make sure we can get those individuals to come under boot. And then on top of that, where our system, we elect a president from one of the two major parties. That president's in for 4 years, barring impeachment, right? Or death or something like that. What do we have instead in these other representative democracies around the world, which are all percentage based? All you need is for one of those coalitions to go and give a vote of no confidence anymore. And that could be in the middle of a prime minister / president's term. And what do they have to do now? The government's now dissolved and they have to have another election. Those systems are a fucking mess. Our system of a duopoly, which is a pain in the ass for most, is still the best system for a representative republic. Why? Because just look at the Republicans. The Republicans have your neocons, your paleocons, your libertarians are all there in a forced coalition. Yes, they can infight. That's why they have different caucuses within the party. But generally, they all come together because they agree. Okay, we agree more. Constitution, small government. We don't want to spend as much. And the libertarians are the non-war hawks, and you have a good amount of Republicans too that aren't war hawks as well. And then on the left, you have your kind of center lefts, your Fettermans and things like that. Then you have your DSA, your full on Marxist communists with your AOC, Bernie, and shit like that. And they're forced to make a coalition where there would be a whole bunch of little splits there as well. So I am a fan of the two-party system. I am outward and open for that. And that might make me unpopular with some, but I have my reasons and I think they're pretty legit. We don't need a third party. We need a replacement party for the Republicans if they cannot get the SAVE Act passed, if they refuse to do it. Because they have shown that they are going to betray the people that are their base one too many times. And every time it happens, what do? We bitch, we whine, we complain, but what do? We vote for their candidates again. We give money to their candidates again. Because why? Because they're better than the psycho fucking leftists. That's why. But no more. No more. If they can't add a minimum, if John Thune in the Senate fucking fails to get the SAVE Act done, which is popular on every single political side, it is rare that you get in the 90s for Republicans, 70s to 80s for Democrats, and even 80s for independents. This is like an 84% issue. And if you cannot get this across the finish line, if you are too much of a bitch, Leader Thune, to do a standing filibuster, why? Because you don't want it to happen. Because John Thune wants to slow walk this because he does not want to be in power. Because John Thune doesn't like Donald Trump. He hates the man. He's a McConnell guy. He's going to smile and make it look like everything's good. I'm trying to do the people's work. But he is slow walking this intentionally. Hence why my ex-post one before, where I hope if you're not watching yet, please go repost it, tag your senator there underneath, tell them that they need to get on board if they're not, and if they, with doing a press conference, if every single co-sponsor, not including John Thune, he is one, but if every single co-sponsor goes and stands behind Mike Lee as Mike Lee gives a press conference saying, John Thune says we're divided, we're not. We are here and we all are signed in to a standing filibuster. And even if it's not all other 48 that are signed into it, even if you can get like 35 to 40, that is a massive group that will show that there isn't division there. And they want the standing filibuster because they want that 50 vote threshold when the standing filibuster is done. And that's it. That's what needs to happen. So, but I am on record here saying, if they do not get this SAVE Act passed, and if they slow walk it to a point where Trump is going to have to executive order it, then I'm sorry, I might be out. And I may be looking to explore starting the replacement party, seeing who I can get in that has been on the show that might be with me to say, fuck the Republicans, screw the GOP, let's form a replacement party, not a third party. I'm going to be very, very big on the fact that this is not a third party. This is a party for every single Republican that has felt betrayed time and time again by the people that they put into office that get in there and then turn around and tell them to fuck off. And this will be a very gate-kept party, okay? This will be a party that no leftists are allowed. I'm not going to be like the libertarians where you have the Mises caucus who are sane and then everyone else out of their fucking minds. I'm not going to sit there and allow, any of the psycho leftists. They're not allowed. Any left-leaning libertarians, they're not allowed, okay? This is going to be right-leaning, conservative-minded thinking people. Some, left-leaning. If you want to be left-leaning but reasonable, cool. You can come hang out with us, okay? Going to be very iffy on hardcore neocons that just want a military-industrial complex everything, which is going to be funny leading into the next topic with Iran, but still, that's coming up later. But we'll talk about them. But there's going to be some gatekeeping in this party. It's not just going to be, hey, I want to come and join you and then infiltrate from within. No, fuck that. So we'll see. We'll see what goes on. But I'm beyond freaking pissed if they can't do that. Caveat Ty saying, with that band on your arm made me think you were wearing a rubber glove. What band am I on? I don't know, band. It's just. Oh, this thing. You talking about my little hair tie? It's my hair tie. Do you want me to. Rollin, do you want me to put up my man bun for you? Are you missing the man bun? Is that what it is? Caveat Ty saying, Thune is my senator, though. Caveat, what you could do is still like and repost it, and then even comment underneath, tag John Thune, and say, I want you to pass to bring the standing filibuster say back. Comments will work. If we bombard them with comments and friendly comments, don't be an asshole about it. Don't be like me. And just say, Senator Thune, Leader Thune, you're my senator. I really want you to enforce a standing filibuster to get the SAVE Act passed. Something like that. Something like that. Nate saying, fellas, what's up, Nate? You just got done with I just got done with me ranting and raving about the SAVE Act. Nate, I don't know if you saw my X post about wanting all of the senators to get behind Mike Lee, their co-sponsors, to do a standing filibuster. If you haven't already, do me a favor and go repost that. And then if your senator is one of the co-sponsors, tag that senator and tell them that you would like them to go with Mike Lee and do a standing filibuster. Tell him that you have his back and you want to do the standing filibuster because enough's enough. And Nate, I also said that I'm probably going to leave the Republican Party if they don't get the SAVE Act and try to probably start my own because I'm a psycho and I'll be a one-man band if I fucking have to. But if I can get enough Republicans that are tired of this shit to come in, let's do it. So there is that and that fun stuff. So let's move on. We're going to be all over the place today, okay, guys? We are going to be all over this place, so I hope you bear with me. We're going to go from politics to cartoon shit and blah, 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 blah. Nate saying, I agree with you 100 on the SAVE Act. I knew you would, Nate. I knew you would. You're a man of the people. But I want to get to this. I found this exciting because I'm a giant nerd. So, Tubi has announced that on March 1st, today, they are bringing a whole bunch of old Warner Brothers, Hanna-Barbera, Cartoon Network cartoons. And let's just look at some of these. Abbott and Costello, Adventures of Batman, Animaniacs, Aquaman, Adam Ant, Baby Looney Tunes, Brave and the Bold, a bunch of Scooby-Doo, Beetlejuice, Ben 10. Look, these are just great names. Codename Kid Next Door, Captain Planet, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Lab. They're bringing a whole bunch of great cartoons. Ed, Edd n Eddy in there. Evil Con Carne, which was wholly forgotten about, I believe. But a whole bunch of great cartoons over to Tubi. If you don't have Tubi yet, go get it. Freakazoid, one of my favorites. Foster's, Flintstones. There's a whole bunch of great stuff going there. And I just think it's cool that we are going to get to preserve these great cartoons that haven't been around. Justice League is in there. Crypto to Superdog, going through Mucho Lucha. Loved Mucho Lucha. Paddington. My kids love Paddington. There's the Paddington cartoon. Pinky and the Brain. Powerpuff Girls. There's a lot of really good ones here. And Static Shock's one of my favorite superheroes of all time. I'm happy he's there. But I just want to go over real quick because this is great and I think it should be propped up and people should know that this is out there for your kids and stuff. You want to show your kids some old school cartoons? Tiny Toons, Tom and Jerry, Top Cat, Wacky Races, Shaolin Showdown, Yogis. So it's like, and these will be the ones that are officially kicking off on March 1st. There's a smaller group and more to come. So you're going to have your Teen Titans, Animaniacs, Powerpuff Girls. I got heavy hitters March 1st. So I'm super excited. Super excited for this. I think that it's going to be a good thing. So Nate saying SAVE Act should be the easiest Republican layup ever. A bunch of clowns. Caveat asking why you number one. I guess the stupid YouTube points. Dukes of Hazzard, the animated series. Yes, they did have an animated series. They did. It was an old school Hanna-Barbera one. But yeah, this is just a quick post. If you don't have Tubi and you want to watch these, go get it. It's free. And it's quite literally in this. It's just a setup like any regular streaming service that you may have. Same setup, and you could just go select your stuff. And it's a free. It has commercials, So if that bothers you, don't go get it. But if you want to go watch some of these old school cartoons, which I know I'll jump in a whole bunch of the Warner Brother DC ones too. A lot of the Batmans, the old Justice Leagues and things like that. Fantastic. Fantastic. So I'm pumped for this. I think it's going to be a great thing to come and for people to watch. But on that note about watching things, now everyone knows, if you heard me on the show, I'm not a big person. Ron would like me to be on Critic List more in terms of watching TV, watching movies and stuff like that. It's been hard. It's been hard when I'm at night. A lot of times I'm jumping on here, doing Hangout streams, setting up for other stuff, doing a bunch of other things on the side. But I started watching something finally, guys. I Invincible's been a cartoon, a superhero cartoon that's so raw and gritty that I've heard a ton about. And I was like, you know what, one day, let me go and watch Invincible. So I started watching it. I've been ripping through Invincible. I'm on to the second season. Finished the first one fast. I think it's a really cool, compelling story. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. Now, I've heard that it takes a little bit of a dip, but people still follow through and like it. It's gone 5 seasons. But overall, my impression of Mark, of Nolan, the Viltrumites, all the characters, obviously being rips of Justice League and things like that, I thought that was just fine. Seeing a Saitama lookalike from One Punch Man was amazing. But it's been a good ride so far. Very gritty, very violent. Some woke shit in there, but especially with the time, that should be expected. Um, but it's been good. It's been good. Caveat saying you should do a live action One Piece season review panel show. I'll join. What, for season 2 when it comes out? We could do that. I think we could do something like that. That would be fun. Just signed up for Netflix so you can watch it. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I'm excited for season 2. I think it's going to be really good. The voice for Chopper and stuff like that. Adam, oi, what's up? How are you? But yeah, Invincible's good. I'll give you the updates as I watch more of it and if I like what I like and what I don't like from it. But I've enjoyed it so far. I thought the villains have been cool, the concepts have been cool. Definitely a lot of just ripping from other comics and sources and things like that, but just making it more adult, making it a little bit more raw in its presentation. I like that Mark is, and Invincible is really strong, but not fully OP. That he is learning his powers, and they're making him earn it. I'd like to see him get his ass beat a little bit less and be a little more competent, but I get he's still young, he's still new, he's just graduated high school. I think he's maybe turning 18. But it's been good. It's been good. Nate saying the boys comic is not woke. They worked it hard. I heard they woke it hard. I heard the boys comic is really good. I heard it's just very different too, though. I even heard that the Invincible comic is a little different than what you get in the animated. Which I'm gonna pick up the Invincible comic and read it through. I know they have the 3 volumes. I'm probably just gonna buy all 3 volumes and rip through it because I've enjoyed it. If I enjoy something, I have no problem supporting it and giving it a call out. So Invincible's good. I know I'm late to the game on it, but Invincible's been good. Adam saying we are the Flashberry. Flashberry. We are the Flashberry. We are. I don't know what that's a reference to. Maybe I should know. I apologize, Adam. I suck. But so I just want to give that little aside for the cartoons on Tubi. Let's keep on refreshing with some of the things that I have missed here, though. Caveat saying I watched a couple episodes of The Boys, not for me. The first season was fine. I didn't mind it at all. I liked all the characters. I really like Carl Urban, so him as Billy Butcher was fantastic. But I didn't watch. I think I watched midway through the second season, and it kind of lost me. So this is why I couldn't be like a big reviewer and stuff like that, because things just lose me. I have too much ADD. If you don't keep me locked in, then I'm completely out. Nate saying the first 2 seasons of Boys were good, then the showrunners got political. I mean, yeah, that happens a lot. And I know they tried to make Homelander like a Trump allegory and stuff. It's like, and it was very obvious. Like, get the fuck out of here. But all right, so let's get to this because this is exciting. Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey are going to be fighting May 16th. Live on Netflix, MVP Promotions, the Pulse Promotions. I know this may be unpopular, okay? But I know Gina is our girl. We've had J3 Drunk 3PO on. Love Drunk 3PO. He's a great guy. I know he's good friends with Gina Carano. If Ronda Rousey doesn't kick Gina's ass, then there's something wrong, okay? Gina was a very good fighter. She was a very good fighter. Obviously good enough to get to the UFC. Gina was known for being really hot, and she's still known for being really hot. More than her fighting. Ronda is one of the most impactful MMA fighters of all time. And I don't think that could be disputed, that it is one of the most impactful MMA fighters of all time. I know she got rocked by Holly Holm. I know. Holly's gotten rocked a few times after that. Okay. Sometimes in martial arts, whether it's fight, MMA, wrestling, and something like that, stylistic clashes happen. And it is, if Ronda doesn't kick her ass, then there's something wrong with Ronda. She should take Gina apart. Let's get to some of the comments here. Caveat Ty saying, yeah, just not my thing. Adam saying Night Agent is a really good series and Mr. Dasovic approves too. I might have to watch Night Agent. I saw him saying something about that on X. Nate saying Garth Ennis, the comic book writer, is harsh as fuck. The Boys comic is maybe the best I've ever read. Well, I got to do that because Watchmen's one of my favorites, and Watchmen's very much one of those gritty, realistic feeling superhero things. Caveat saying I don't do TV. If you get invested, it almost always lets you down. Yeah, sometimes, but you hope not. Adam saying my money is on the audience. Yes. Caveat saying Gina has the size. I wouldn't put it past her. And Adam saying Gina is heavier though. Right. Size does matter. And Nate saying I love Gina. Ronda is going to crush. You can develop a ground game like that. Gina isn't Holly on the feet. Agreed. Yes. Listen, Gina's heavier. Yes. Gina's longer. She's bigger. I agree with Nate. She's not the striker Holly Holm was. And it's not like before Ronda fought Holly, she didn't fight other very good strikers. Ronda is just that armbar that she's able to put you in from every and any position. She's able to get you into an armbar. It was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen during the MMA time when she was there. Now, I don't think Ronda's going to go for a first round TKO or KO or anything like that. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. I do think they're going to make it interesting. They're going to strike a little bit. There might be some takedown attempts and things like that. I don't think it's going to be rough up. I think we might see 1-2 rounds of maybe just snooze. I think the third round, Ronda's going to take it. Nate saying size is irrelevant on the ground. That's partially true, Nate. If Gina figures out a way to lay on Ronda, the only way Gina Carano can truly have a chance at winning this is if she uses her size, pushes Ronda against that cage often, keeps Ronda Rousey on the cage. If she decides to make this a center mat fight, Ronda's going to kick her ass. If she uses her size, bullies Ronda, puts Ronda into the cage, and then on the ground is laying on her and tiring her out, then she'll have a chance. She has to tire Ronda out. If she tires her out, that's her only opportunity. If it is just fresh, then Ronda, and if Gina's being a little bit more, iffy about getting in there because she's afraid of Ronda's ability to get an armbar and things like that and put her out, then it's going to go round in Ronda's favor. Gina Carano needs to put the pressure on, needs to be the one moving forward, using her size, putting Ronda into the cage, and again, tiring her out, making this a very much a clinch on the cage match. If she's clinching a lot on the cage, if it's a clinch fight and she's just pressuring, then that's where Gina has a chance. In terms of pure fighting ability, Ronda Rousey should kick her ass. Adam saying, I believe in Gina, David and Goliath. Listen, I would love to see Gina win. Way Ronda Rousey's been a bitch about her time in the WWE, whining about it all the time when she was a part-time performer. Um, I mean, I would love nothing more than to see Gina Carano win. I would. But at the same time, there's a lot that goes into it. Um, Nate saying Bradley Metron, a 6'4", 260 bodybuilder, got taken down and punked by a high schooler, 160-pound state champ. Yeah, but that's very different, Nate. Being a bodybuilder, but a person with technique can definitely win. But when you're talking, Nate, in a situation here where there's two martial arts masters and it's the technique is damn near flawless on both sides, then the minimal things matter. The minimal things matter. I don't give a shit about a bodybuilder getting beat up by a 160-pound state champion. He should in wrestling. He should get taken down. He should get held down because the technique is just different levels there. Here, the technique difference is minuscule, but it's enough. It is enough where Ronda has that extra edge of just skill over Gina. And it's nothing against Gina. Gina Carano's an amazing fighter. She's a great fighter. Obviously, you make it to the UFC, you're a great fighter. But you just got to go with the one who, and honestly, I don't know how much Gina's fully been training. Adam saying Gina's going to use domain expansion. Listen, if she gets the infinite void going, it's over. Gina's ground game isn't close to a bronze judo champ. Yeah, listen, I agree. I agree. This is why I am saying that Ronda Rousey has the edge in this fight in almost every which way. It's great to see the fight happening, and I hope Gina wins. I'm rooting for Gina. Just realistically, it's hard. It's hard to say that Gina Carano has much of a chance outside of just being uber aggressive and tiring Ronda Rousey the fuck out. Caveat saying, I took down a 6'5", 300-pound guy in wrestling in the army because he didn't know wrestling at all. Exactly. Technique will trump over that. Then you understand a bronze Olympian versus a good MMAer. Yeah, I think we're all coming around to the same thing, Nate and Ron. I think we're kind of circling around now. I'm saying, but Alex, you're missing something. Thunder thighs. Listen, I'm not saying I'm mad at all about Gina Carano's thunder thighs, okay? I'm not mad about anything about Gina Carano. And again, I want her to win. I want her to win. So, Nate saying, to be fair, Martin has been training a while with MMAers. Listen, you could train, but Nate, we've seen it before. We're fans of the sport. Training, and then let's CM Punk trained for a little while after he got out of WWE, and then he got into a Pride fight and got subsequently rocked. Or UFC. I didn't think he went to UFC. They put him on an undercard or some bullshit. And you could train all you want until you're in there. And again, dealing with experts. And listen, 160-pound high school state champion is getting close to expert class right there. So, Nathan, I too like Gina's thighs. Who the fuck doesn't if you're a red-blooded American male? But all right, so that was always fun to talk about that. Rooting for Gina. Absolutely rooting for Gina. Like, yes, look at those thighs. Just look at Gina Carano. Just her in general. Yes, I agree. But unfortunately, she's probably going to get rocked if she doesn't really put pressure on. Anyway, I want to go to this because while I was not doing many Hangout streams, we had some interesting happenings. So on the Tonight Show with Colbert, apparently they made a big deal. And this was on the 17th, so like half a month ago. Sorry. But a big deal that they were not allowed to air James Tellerico, who is trying to go for the primary for the Senate seat against Jasmine Crockett. They were told by the FCC they were not allowed to air this. But it was a fucking lie. And from all people, it comes from Brian Stelter to reveal it. See what Mr. Stelter had to say. This just in from CBS. The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview of Representative James Tellerico. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for two other candidates, including Representative Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be fulfilled. The Late Show decided to present the interview through its YouTube channel with on-air promotion on the broadcast rather than potentially providing the equal time options. So, what happened here, folks? What happened was James Telerico and Colbert conspired, and there needs to be an investigation because James Telerico raised like $3 million after this. But they conspired to get ratings and to get donations. This has to be an act kind type of thing. Colbert should be tried or at least investigated for illegal donations, illegal something, because this is bullshit. What he did, he knew what he was doing. And the crazy part is, it's not like the FCC would, they didn't say anything, number one. The FCC didn't do anything. CBS was the one that was like, hey, we want you to give, here's some ways to fulfill the equal time slots for the other Democrat candidates. No, this was Colbert showing favorites. That's all this was. He was showing favorites that he wants Telerico to get noticed. And Telerico is also a giant piece of shit, okay? That guy claims to be a pastor, which he's not. He might have been ordained as one. He ain't a fucking pastor because he believes in abortion. Period. If you believe in abortion, you're not a pastor. You're not a Christian. You cannot be a Christian that believes in abortion. Period. There's no question about that. And any Christian, any person wants to challenge me that they're a Christian but like, that believes in abortion, let's go. I'll have that conversation with you because you're not. You cannot believe in the sanctity of life, but also believe in the ability to end one. They are just two very opposite things. Very, very, very opposite things. But I know I'm going to not take too long on this because it's a long time now. They kind of moved on from it, but just fuck all these people. That's it. Nate saying laugh a lot, love watching CM Punk get crushed. Adam saying they should make this a heel season. Yeah. Nate saying commies completely infiltrated the churches. It depends on the churches. There's some still good ones. A lot of some of your Protestants are really fucking bad. And this is why I've been kind of churchless for a little while in my area. We were going to a Presbyterian church, which I moved over from Catholic to Presbyterian, and then it started getting very preachy. And I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to go to a church that's preaching leftist bullshit. And my wife agreed. My wife's not very political, and she was disturbed by some of the sermons. She's like, yeah, I don't like these. This isn't what I come here for. So, Nietzsche saying Belladad. Yes. Yes. Adam saying not the Catholic one. I mean, the Pope has been retarded lately too, because I still have Catholic leanings from growing up Catholic, being confirmed and everything like that. This Pope has been disappointing, but he was a pretty leftist Pope. We found he wasn't the most like right leaning cardinal when he was elected. He's been okay. He's been okay. When he's talking about immigration, he kind of fucking sucks. When he's talking about the things going on in the Middle East, he has picked and chose. Now he wants to come out and say there needs to be peace. He didn't say shit about the Iranians murdering a fuck ton of their own people. So this Pope has been iffy. Some good stuff, some bad stuff. He's been up and down, which I'm generally okay with. You're allowed to have up and down stuff, but some of the things he's been down on have been real bad. Caveat saying some Presbyterians are good. Adam saying Pope Leo the 14th? Yeah, Pope Leo the 14th for let's go. I can't read Roman numerals. Caveat saying some are bad. Nietzsche saying The Devil and Belladad, good book. I might have to read it. Caveat, I'm a Reformed Baptist. Nietzsche saying Vatican is super woke. Adam saying the Pope is misrepresented. Everyone listens to CNN. He can be, but at the same time, his ex-posts aren't misrepresented. They're what he says. And he is saying a lot of things. Like he came out with the Iranian war statement and stuff like that. And Adam saying, I don't think he understands our immigration situation. He may not, but then he just needs to keep his fucking mouth shut, okay? Just don't comment. The thing is, too, he's also from Chicago. Never had to deal with the immigrant situation like those in the South do. So in that situation, don't comment. Like, I don't hear him talking about rape gangs over in Britain. There's Catholics in Britain. He doesn't talk about any of that. He hasn't talked about the Uyghur Muslims being fucking tortured in China. There's Catholics in China that could be affected. I don't hear him talking about the Coptic Christians being killed. I don't hear him talking about the Armenian genocide. I mean, he's picking and choosing here, and what he's choosing is politically expedient towards his belief system politically, which a pope shouldn't do. Adam saying our bishops aren't that good, and it's likely a communication issue with the apostolic nuncio, possibly. You guys are having a conversation. Wesley Huff, good recommendation. So, all right. So that was Brian Stelter and everything. But yeah, no. Telerico fucking sucks. Now, this one is more recent. This one's from the 17th. Not that recent. But I want to talk about this. Now, I also want to talk about, okay, so Daily Mail, we'll look at the article. Distraught family blasts Canada for euthanizing son, 26, who suffered from seasonal depression. So Canada on with their MAID program. Does anyone also think that it's a little bit fucked up that Canada used the acronym to say that it's the MAID program? Because there is a slang term saying that when someone got made, and it is a mafioso term, saying that when someone got made is how you said they got killed. They probably did this intentionally, saying that these people got made. Because if you watch like any mafioso stuff, hey, yeah, he got made. You know, that's kind of the slang for saying somebody got murdered. So I just thought of that too, how fucked up it is that they call it made. But let's jump to the article real quick. This is from the Daily Mail. Distraught family blasts Canada for euthanizing son, 26, who suffered from seasonal depression. Now, we're going to get into the article more. One thing I do dislike on all sides, is kind of the headline that you have to grab, right? And this is from Kelly Garino, who's a U.S. reporter. This kid did suffer from more than seasonal depression. Speaking of Canada, did you see Steve Dangle? Holy shit, he needs MAID. I did not. What did Steve Dangle do? Fill me in. But all right, so let's read a little bit of this. Family has accused Canada's laws of killing the disabled and vulnerable. Let me restart. A family has accused Canada's laws of killing disabled and vulnerable months after their son, who suffered from seasonal depression, died by assisted suicide. I hate that sentence. Keanu Vafayan, a 26-year-old blind man with type 1 diabetes, died in December using Canada's MAID program, which allows patients with grievous and irredeemable medical conditions to request a lethal drug. So again, it's meant to be like this sympathy thing. But let's keep going here. Eligibility was expanded in 2021 to include people with chronic illness, disabilities, and pending parliamentary review, potentially individuals with certain mental health conditions. So this one is fucked up. They opened it up. Chronic illness, I don't like that one. There's usually some sort of way to help on that. Disabilities is the fucked up one. And this is where this program is getting into kind of your Nazi Germany, any sort of leftist type of shit that, these leftist governments that want to do away with any of their like weaker members. Because if you're woke like they are in Canada, is there such thing as a disability? Not according to them. Isn't that bigoted to sit there and acknowledge a person's disability? Aren't they not handicapped? Aren't they handy capable? And then individuals with certain mental health conditions. Holy shit. I got it, Nate. I'll go check it out. Nate, is it safe to play on the stream? Let me know if it's safe to play. If it's safe to play, I'll throw it in. Canada just needs its destiny manifested. I don't agree outside of Alberta. Fuck every other part. I'll take Alberta. They'll vote fine. I do not want Ontario. They suck. I do not need more leftists. But let's keep rolling here because highlighting that fucked up part. Vafayan faced mental health struggles stemming from a car accident at 17, which sucks. And according to his mother, his depression often flared during the winter months, which is normal. A lot of people get seasonal depression. And then if you have an issue, it could get worse. That makes sense. For years, the family has successfully prevented their son from using the program. Last year, however, Dr. Ellen Wybe, a maid provider in British Columbia, approved of Afin's death, news the family only learned about days later. And here's the problem. Here's the big problem. People are going to point to the fact that he's an adult, he made an adult decision. The issue with all this is the fact that the option is there is going to make more people that don't necessarily need it want it. Make someone who's just suffering from depression that could potentially get help for it see an easy option out at 26 years old. See an easy option out. And if it's available, people are going to seek it. That's it. And that's the big problem with all this shit. Caveat Ty saying they have all the resources and conservatives. Yes, they do. We want Alberta. Uh, keep going. Vavefin's mother, Margaret Marcilla of Ontario, alleged that Wiebe was coaching her son on how to qualify as a Track 2 patient, those whose natural deaths aren't deemed reasonably imminent, according to Fox News Digital. Now, this is interesting because that is a huge accusation. And if it happens to come true in the court of law, then I hope this woman gets tried for murder. That did it. Quote, we believe that she was coaching him on how to deteriorate his body, what she can possibly approve him for, and what she can get away with approving him for. Marcilla told the outlet, which when it comes down later down this article, when they talk about why they officially said they killed him, you'll find out. Marcilla has since been battling fiercely to undo the Track 2 modification and to support Bill C-218, a legislative effort intended to restrict MAID for those only whose condition is for those whose only condition is mental illness. And I agree. Adam saying it'll be a territory. I don't if it's that close, Adam. I think if it's since Alberta touches the United States, I don't think it would be a territory. I think we'd bring them in as a full-fledged state because that would be really, really hard to enforce territory status when they're that close. I think if you're going to bring in a Canadian province, it would probably be a state just because the proximity makes sense to make them a state. Anyway, these are some pictures. Quote, we don't want to see any other family member suffer or any country introduce a piece of legislation that kills their disabled or vulnerable without appropriate proper treatment plans that could save their lives, Marcilla told Fox. And mind you, in America, I think there's 13 states that have a MAID program right now. Something like that. Like, it's a ridiculous number of states that have a version of MAID. New York just fucking passed one. It's coming, guys. It's coming. Caveat Ty saying make it a state and give Canada Minnesota. See, we need to just fix Minnesota. I like Minnesota. Minnesota has the Vikings. They have the Wild. They have the T-Wolves. I don't mind Minnesota. We just need to fix Minnesota. That's what we have to do. At 17, a car accident derailed his plans. He spent years moving between family, blah, blah, blah. Came to a head in 2022 after losing vision in one eye. He became obsessed with the assisted suicide program. So he obviously is suffering from mental issues. This is why, number one, socialized healthcare sucks, because I guarantee he was not getting the proper care he needed because he was already an issue, and socialized healthcare lets you take forever, which Canada is fully socialized. And on top of that, number two, this is also why we need mental institutions. This individual, without MAID, would have probably seeked to kill himself anyway. He seemed like the type of person. But if we had a place like an institution where he could go temporarily to maybe get shit worked out and get the meds he needs, then that could be it. Adam saying we need the North American Empire. We need it. Caveat Ty saying give him Minneapolis. And Adam saying no, we've done it before. Got to make some compromises. I listen. I like where all your heads are at. Okay. Quote, he kept on emphasizing how we could get approved. Marcilla told the outlet, we never thought there would be a chance any doctor would approve a 22 or 23-year-old at the time for MAID because of diabetes and blindness. That year, Vavefin attempted to die under the program for the first time after being approved, even going so far as to schedule a time, date, and location for the procedure in Toronto. This just sounds sickening to read. This is one of those things that you read in like a sci-fi or like a dystopian, and you kind of cringe at the fact that these countries and these places are willing to kill their own people. Like, this is so dystopian. But the plan unraveled when his mother accidentally discovered the appointment email and called the doctor, posing as a woman inquiring about Maid. She also took to social media to publicly voice her opposition. She taped the conversation with the doctor and sent it to the reporter. To a reporter, the doctor then postponed the procedure over the outcry, decided to not go through with it. And listen, I understand the mother doing what she can to keep her son out of there. I get it. Seems to be a little fucking crazy, but she's doing what she can to keep her son alive. Adam saying Oregon used to be a territory. Why not Canadian? We're not going to listen. If we get Canada, we're going to rename it Canada because Canada sounds too harsh. Canada sounds so much better. They already call themselves Canadians, so let's just call Canadian. Make it better. I will only bring Canada in if they agree to be called Canada. Marcella said her son was initially angry, insisting she had violated his right to choose death, but she told Fox that he began improving quickly that year. Tried his best with those good lies. The winter started coming. He changed everything that had worked for him in the spring and summertime. He would start talking about Maid again. Their relationships improved. He texted his mom he was going to be better, was at the gym, and he walked away at all. Something snapped in his head. He checked into a luxury Mexican resort on the 15th, was making photos. And then 3 days after that, 5 days later, he texted his mother that his physician-assisted suicide was scheduled for the next day. So he got his last hurrah. He got what he wanted. He got his last hurrah, went to Mexico, and snuck up on the family saying he was going to die the next day. He turned to Dr. Wiebe after being rejected by several other doctors. And she divides her practice between maid and reproductive care, including abortion, contraception, and delivering newborns. She just loves death. This woman loves death. Fucking crazy. That is not a doctor. Any doctor that is willing to kill both the unborn and the alive, it's not a doctor. That woman's not a doctor. She went ahead with Vafacien's procedure, news of which reached his parents only days later. They said they were never notified that Wiebe had been given approval, according to Fox. So here's the thing. He was 26 years old. I don't know if they needed to give approval at 26. Would it have been nice? I'm killing your child. Yes. But this is where the adult thing comes in. Yes, he was an adult. So, the whole process came as a shock. Joseph Caprera, Vervaefen's stepfather, told the outlet. The death certificate now lists antecedent causes of his assisted suicide as blindness, severe peripheral neuropathy, which is nerve damage outside the brain and spinal cord that causes pain and numbness, and diabetes. But his parents said medical records did not back up the claim of severe peripheral neuropathy, which is qualified factor for his assisted suicide. So that is what makes this interesting, that it seems like the family is accusing this doctor of making up something else in order to kill their son. And I think this is what goes along with them saying that they believe that she was coaching him, which again, is sick. If she was coaching him, she's a sick person, needs to have her medical license revoked and put in jail forever. She talks about safeguards or treatments. 90 days under the current system for track 2 is too short. And there's some more in here. This medically assisted deaths in Canada from 2016 to 2014. Look at this, guys. This is a disgusting chart. Okay? This chart is gross. 2016, over 1,000, which is bad enough. We're at 2024. There was over 16,000, almost 16,500 deaths in 2024. I'm curious what 2025 already looks like, but this is insane. This is insane. If you're looking at it, what is that? Oh, right there, 10,000, almost 20 here, 30, 43, 50, 58, almost 70, almost 80,000 people. They've almost killed 80,000 of their own citizens from 2016 to 2024. What is wrong with this country? What is wrong with this country? Canada is gone, y'all. Like, Canada's lost. I don't know how to get out of this thing. Anyway, but all right, so we're going to get away from this, but Canada's lost. That is an absolute tragedy. But this is what's coming, guys. This is what's coming here to us in America if we don't wisen up. But we're going to jump to this. I had to get over to this. I know it's old from the State of the Union, but people are talking about the midterms and everything. And I know we have the Iranian stuff going on, but this is a big deal. Trump gave the biggest gift to the Republicans for the midterms when he said, first duty of American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens, and ask them to stand. Caveat Ty saying that's more than every city in my state but one. Yeah, that's more than most cities and places. But let's see what Trump did that was a stroke of genius here.
So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
And right there, they fade to it. You'll see. This is simple, right? This is one of those things that even when you don't agree with the president on his policies, you look around and and say, we got to at least stand for this and do some like slow clap, right? Everyone does it. You've seen it done at every State of the Union where, okay, we begrudgingly, this is a traditional American thing. We got to agree with it, right? The Democrats decided to take a different approach here. And I think this approach is all going to fuck them because let's look at this. Not a single Democrat standing. Not a single. And here's the thing. I don't know where Fetterman was sitting. I don't know if Fetterman stood for this one. Fetterman stood for a good amount of the things that he believed in that Trump said. I don't know if John Fetterman stood. I don't know where he is in the crowd. But I do have to say Fetterman is very close to changing parties. I'm 100% sure of that. At least going to independent because the left has left him. But look at this. This is a picture that is going to be used everywhere. And Trump's just basking in it. He knows what he did. He's looking at them and he goes, present, like, look at this group. I love that. He's looking at them like, are you fucking serious, guys? Like, I think he's even surprised at, like, seriously? I just gave everyone a slam dunk. You should want to serve the American people over illegal citizens. That should be your first priority. And they're not standing? This is a gift. Look at that. Ever the showman. Now, again, fuck John Thune if he doesn't get the SAVE Act passed, because all that's bullshit. If he doesn't get the SAVE Act passed, then that standing ovation he was a part of is fucking nonsense, right? Well, let's see if this has anything else here. So I'm trying to look for Fetterman. I can't see if he was standing or not. And look at that. This is the one rare time that I was happy for a standing ovation and an extended one at the State of the Union because this just highlights for well over a minute that the Democrats didn't even have the intelligence to just finally stand up and clap a little bit. Just a little bit. No, they're all sitting there with pussies on their face. Good. Good. And when it comes to the Trump State of the Union, I just have to say, I didn't plan on talking about this, but I'll talk about it a little bit. It was a fantastic State of the Union. I thought he did a really nice job talking about the accomplishments like he always does and things like that like they're supposed to. But also all of the individuals that he brought out from the hockey team to the different people that he was giving medals of honor and stuff like that and medals of recognition to were impactful. They were impactful and they all had meaning. They weren't just these little stories about my policy and what my policy did. And little Sally came up to me and her mother said, no, we didn't get those bullshit stories that we've gotten for years. We got impactful stories. We got and different things being given. And it was really well done. It was the longest speech in history. And I think that he did a really good job. I thought that speech was really well done. He was on point. He was on point. And with the way he called out the Democrats, it was very much, you want to talk about a divisive speech? It was divisive, as it should be. As it should be. Because the thing is, the blocking of the agenda that is going to get the country back on track is being done by the leftists in every which way. And I'm happy that there is a politician that for once was like, I can get this done and I can help you, but they're not participating. And this is what they're doing and calling them out. We've wanted this for years, guys. The people that are like, I wanted to be more presidential. Shut the fuck up. We wanted this for years. As a conservative, we have wanted this for years. We have wanted a conservative to sit there and say, these people suck. These people suck. And here's why. And it's absolutely appropriate. And I was happy. Adam saying, can we all just agree to start trusting Trump, trust but verify? Yeah, and that is going to bring me on to my next topic. Now I'm going to start off, we're going to talk about Iran. We are going to talk about Iran, and might piss some people off, but then again, I have never cared. But I think that there was a good ex-post by Konstantin Kisin, who I don't always agree with Konstantin Kisin, but I think this post is actually really well put on how we can and should all think about this. There we go. It's a little bit bigger for everyone. So Konstantin Kisin, it's a pretty long one. Let's read it. The arguments about Iran are so polarized that no one wants to admit that several things are true at once. You'd be a fool not to have serious reservations about the idea of a regime change war, especially in the Middle East. And I agree, but I've also heard a lot of people saying that we got to stop living in the ghost of 25 years ago and 20 years ago. And I agree with that too. But regime change is never good. So I agree with that. Let's keep going. You'd also be a fool to allow terrorist funding lunatics to develop nuclear weapons. Agreed, because they will use them. Neither the people condemning these strikes nor the people cheering them on know how this is going to work out. This is also true. So far, the Trump administration's interventions have been extraordinarily successful in achieving valid objectives within a highly limited scope. And again, Konstantin is cooking here. He is cooking with fire. All these things he's saying are correct. The strikes in Iran during the 12-day war achieved destruction of several nuclear facilities. Yes, it did, which, mind you, the same people talking about the war today that are wholly against it, on the right especially, are these same ones that were saying during those we're about to have World War III. And the same ones that panicked during Venezuela. So there's people you got to take with a grain of salt here. The Venezuela operation decapitated the hostile regime and replaced Maduro with a non-hostile leader, which, again, agreed. Because the bottom line is, yes, people are like, oh, they didn't topple the Maduro regime. No, they just let these motherfuckers know what will happen if they go against the United States. And while this vice president, who is now the president, is no fan of us, she doesn't want to be the next one carried out in the middle of the night. Message sent. Both achieve significant don't fuck with us deterrence globally. Exactly. However, it is not remotely clear at this moment in time whether something similar can be achieved in Iran. And that is true. I understand and fully empathize with people who think regime change is not going to work in Iran, and you'll end up with the same what you had or worse. And this is learning from history, right? And learning about history, we tried it in Iran once. It hasn't gone well for us since that happened. We've tried it in Iraq. Iraq is not great, but not the worst, right? Like, let's actually take a full look back here. Is Iraq an enemy anymore? Do we worry about Iraq the same way we did in the 90s when they were going after Kuwait, the first Persian Gulf, the second Persian Gulf? For all intents and purposes, when you look back at the start of the war on terror with Iraq, Afghanistan's still a fucking mess, but Afghanistan's in a war against Pakistan and nobody gives a shit, okay? They're currently a full-fledged war with them in Pakistan. Nobody cares. But Iraq, when you really turn back and look at it, Iraq's not necessarily not a success. Because what was the intention of going into Iraq and toppling Saddam Hussein? Crippling them. Yeah, we tried to bring democracy and that didn't work. Nation building didn't work. But ultimately, we haven't heard shit from Iraq in 15 years. Iraq is a non-factor in the Middle East now when they were the biggest power player. They were the third strongest military. Again, people don't look this up, Google search. When America went in with shock and awe with George W. Bush in 2001, Iraq was the third strongest standing military in the world, and the United States toppled them in 2 weeks. That just showed our might there. Now, subsequently, what happened in 20 plus years later with Afghanistan and shit like that, it became a mess. But Iraq is not a problem anymore. They're an afterthought. They're just another country. So, Nate, to answer your question, can I name one Middle East success? Iraq. We did the job there. They're not a major terrorist country anymore. They're not a problem in the Middle East anymore. I don't know if they're killing their people again like Saddam Hussein did. If not, they might not necessarily be peaceful, but they're not causing the strife in the Middle East that they once did. So yeah, potentially Iraq. How can you not look at Iraq as a success? Afghanistan was the problem, not necessarily Iraq. So as you go back and think about it, we toppled Iraq. We stayed in there too long, probably to try and help them create a democracy. And I don't know what they are right now, but they're not a fucking problem. They're quiet. Nobody gives a shit about Iraq. And that's massive considering where it was. So, a few comments, Adam. Iran is sketchy, but Trump never fails on foreign policy. He hasn't yet. Nate saying, if Israel isn't the spearhead on the ground, it's bullshit. And here's the thing, Nate. We're not on the ground. Everything's been air. I don't think Trump's going on the ground. I really don't. I think it's all going to be naval and it's going to be air. I don't see boots on the ground. I know we've had 3 deaths so far, and every single American death is a fucking terrible one over in those goddamn sandpits. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to be on the ground. I don't think we're going to see it. Nietzsche, Iran is not Venezuela, not a good comparison. They're not, but comparison in terms of the intention, I think, is similar. Nate, Iran is a geographical nightmare, boots on the ground. I don't think there's going to be boots on the ground. I don't think there's going to be boots on the ground. The U.S. taking out half the Iranian military in like 2 hours. Yeah. Nate saying 1 million dead, 7 trillion in debt for no news. Nate, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than for no news. Because again, Nate, you have to understand, we're right around the same age. I don't know if you were as politically active. I always liked politics when I was younger. Iraq was a problem for 25 years. Now, Iran always sucked too, the Muslim Brotherhood, but Iraq was a problem for 25 years, even before we were born. They were the center of a lot of the wrong going on in the Middle East, a lot of the uncertainty in the Middle East. They had aspirations of taking over a bunch of countries and expanding. Yes, we took out Saddam Hussein. And again, do I like the death toll? No. Okay. Do I like the 7 trillion in debt? I mean, we were going to be in debt regardless. That's what the country was demanding. Debt was always a thing. It's fucking terrible right now what they do with the debt. But it's not that it's no news. It's about that there's seeming stability in that country, in a place that no one thought there could be, with Shiite, Sunnis, and Kurds all in the same fucking country. Making a volatile place in the Middle East, a place that was a thorn consistently, into a non-volatile place is massive in that region. It's massive. Caveat saying, I remember the first Bush-Iraq war. And Nate, I think the thing is, when you're thinking in geopolitics, it's hard to sit there and think. You do have to think somewhat out of the American bubble. Yes, we should only intervene when it benefits us, period. Fuck everyone else. If it's not benefiting us, we shouldn't intervene. I agree. But what's going on, it wasn't a bad thing. Adam saying the U.S. is stronger in the past wars led us to suggest, I don't like men dying, but Iran has been supporting terrorists attacking our shipping lanes. They've been supporting the Hamas is under their support, the Houthis under their support, and that's the only ones that we know of. Okay. Nate saying we literally backed Saddam Hussein in the 80s. Yeah, we do. We do that. Listen, I'm not saying that we're perfect, but we also geopolitically things change. And I think that's also something we need to remember. Geopolitically things change. And could this be a mistake? Absolutely. But the thing is, what if it's not? What if it's not? Like in the end, it looking like Iraq is fairly stable. I don't know much about Iraq. I haven't heard shit about them. Not hearing shit about them is usually a good thing when it comes to the Middle East. What if what's going on in Iran is not a mistake? And if it comes out in the end being good? Because Iran being the biggest state sponsor of terror. And Nate, that's not true. Iran monetarily has been the biggest sponsor of terrorism, documented. And here's the thing: Saudi Arabia has been at least playing ball with the West. There's a major difference. There's a major difference when a country starts playing ball. And I remember what Al Qaeda did. 100%. Fuck Al Qaeda. I agree with you. But they're playing ball with the West, and that makes a huge difference when you're willing to play ball. Caveat ties saying, I do think the best solution for our immigration policy is to have these other countries not be such hellholes. Debatable how we can achieve that. I mean, it's partial, right? And here's the thing, guys. I think what we need to remember, and I think we forget politically all the time, is we can do two things at once. The machine in central government, all government's fucking massive. We can do multiple things. We could do things on the home front while doing things foreign. Just because we are now bombing Iran doesn't mean we're going to stop everything domestically. We demand that we stay focused here. Okay, let's only focus on the homeland, forget everything geopolitically and foreign, and then let that place go into a shithole. Okay? Saying how we fought with Saudi Arabia to fight Houthis with Al Qaeda. And caveat saying, what is Al Qaeda doing now? Nate, I get it. We do some shady shit. We partner with people that we shouldn't partner with at times. But bottom line is, Saudi Arabia is now, their princes are waving the flag that they want to westernize. Now, does that mean that they're not going to do shady shit? Of course they are. Every country does. Saudi Arabia is throwing a lot of money around and trying to get themselves as player in the international game, whether it is money, whether it is influence. Look at everything they're doing in sports. Look at the changes they're doing culturally, seeming on the outside. Women can drive. Women don't have to wear headscarves there. There is a lot of major changes going on in Saudi Arabia that's driven by the fact that the younger Saudi princes want to play ball with the West. They want to get money from the Western powers. And with that, you can make one of two choices. As a country, you can tell them, fuck you, we're not going to play ball. And you can go to hell because, we still remember, then you know what? If that's the case, Nate, if we're never going to allow any of these countries to come back to the table, then we just need to declare war. We just need to declare war. Because if that's your stance. Now, if your stance is my stance is we keep them at arm's length. Okay, you're the younger princes, you're the crown prince, and you're saying you want to play ball. Okay, let's play ball. When you fuck up, you fuck up. Shit will hit the fan possibly. But we will let you play ball. Because Saudi Arabia is important to stability there, and they're a big person that teeters on a lot of things. Okay? Adam saying that was when Hillary was Secretary of State. Is women driving a good thing? Nate saying, Yeah, don't side with Al Qaeda, period. And listen, part of that could be you need to stop funding Al Qaeda. And if not, then yeah, we need to fucking go at them. But, and listen, I get where you're coming from, Nate. I get it. Al Qaeda, I want every single one of them dead, just like you. But you also need to look at it from a country to country standpoint is very different. Nate saying, I don't give a fuck what anyone's objective is. They killed 3,000 Americans and more in the war and more when our boys came home. Nate, I'm with you. But the thing is, from a personal standpoint, I agree with you. But we also sometimes need to take our personal account and look at it on a grand scale of what they're going to do country to country. Because if that's the case, Nate, then don't vote for any of the politicians because they're going to vote to play ball. While people have long memories, a lot of politicians and wealthy people have very short memories. And that's just the unfortunate part of it, Nate. That I'm with you 100%. September 11th, Al Qaeda. I would love to fucking capture them and flay them live on. It's still to this day on Monday Night Football. Every single fucking halftime show. Would love that more than anything. But the unfortunate part is, with all the turmoil in the Middle East, in order to gain peace, you need to brick by brick bring these countries back. And if you can get them to start to westernize and come with you, then you need to. And that's Trump's job. He sees it is if peace is in the Middle East, then things will go smoother here. I'm pretty sure he sees it that way. Adam saying those debts are on previous presidents. Now Trump has to deal with it, and he is. Shit's gone down under his first term. The Saudis haven't been great. Okay, I agree with Nate. The Saudis still, even while they're smiling, have done some fucked up shit as well. But that comes with the territory. But I appreciate the comments, everyone. You guys are awesome. Nate, I understand how you feel. I'm not necessarily arguing against it. I'm really not. Nate saying, I lost dear friends to the bullshit war on terror. These people don't know how to do foreign policy. It's real lives. Nate, I lost friends to the war on terror too. I did. It's the thing with it is the people that make foreign policy decisions don't give a fuck about real lives. And that's where we need to be real. We need to come with the realization. We are pawns on the war board. Your battalion is just a peg. I mean, that's unfortunate reality. And it doesn't matter who you vote for in the end. When they're sitting in that situation room, when they're sitting in that war room, they are just looking at battalions of soldiers and where they're going to place them. They're not worried, nor are they thinking about the individual lives. And that is not just America. That is every country ever in the history of man, because they've all fought wars against each other. And as organized standing militaries began to be a thing, it has just always been pawns on pawns for those making decisions. And that's the unfortunate part and the unfortunate reality about it. And foreign policy will always just be pegs on a pegboard, pawns on a map. That doesn't mean that we should never do anything. But it's just the realization that we need to get through. When we're watching Mel Gibson's The Patriot, as they're sitting in there in their fucking war planning, they're not war planning thinking about what if Billy loses Roger, his fucking dad. No, they're thinking about how are we going to win this war? Which battalion do we place where? They're not thinking about the individual lives. And they're never going to. And that's the unfortunate bullshit part of it. But that's also why when you sometimes talk about and do these things, you have to, if you really want to think about geopolitical implications, you sometimes have to dive into that mind frame and not think about it as, people as much. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up to do. Adam saying, yeah, but this was all started when we invaded Afghanistan to stop the Soviets. I mean, listen, there's decades of history with it. Caveat Ty saying, I got out before the war, but the replacement, my position with another guy. He was the only one from my platoon that died, and that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that anyone from your platoon passed away. That's never easy. Adam saying wars were more moral when kings fought their battles. Yes and no, because a lot of it was dick measuring of royals that were all related, and they petty squabbled a lot. And even though they wouldn't do king on king fights, they would use a lot of their soldiers to fight while they were on the battlefield, but they were sitting back most of the time. And their fights were usually on extremely petty fucking things amongst not necessarily nations, but their little principalities too. Adam saying thinking like that saves more lives. It sucks, but so does war. War's miserable. Nate saying, I hope you're right. If boots are on the ground, this is going to be ugly. I hear your point too, fellas. And Nate, yeah, listen, the boots on the ground is terrifying. The one saving grace I think we're seeing, Nate, is they're being incredibly accurate with where they're going. And it looks like in all of the strikes that President Trump has done so far, number one, mouths closed. Nobody knows when they're coming and when they're happening. We can predict, we can think, we can get inferences, but nobody, including our enemies, know. And they've been balls on accurate. Apparently, I saw, and I can't confirm this, I saw it on a quick post. I don't know if it was a news post or not, that they waited for this exact time when a good portion of the Iranian leadership, including the supreme leader, were in a specific place having a meeting. And they somehow got internal intelligence. I want to say something real quick. Our CIA has done a lot of fucked up shit. Okay. And our intelligence has done a lot of fucked up shit. Okay. Trump has been utilizing them in spectacular fashions. Whether it's Venezuela, whether it was the first Iranian strike along with the Mossad, whether it's this one, their intelligence about where these people are, when they're doing it, when's the best time to go in, has been like nothing I've ever seen in my life. Maybe shock and awe, but they knew shock and awe was coming in Iraq, and they still fucking destroyed them. Iran has not had a clue when the Americans were coming, not once, but twice. These are countries that have China and Russian tech helping them with the best of their shit. So we'll see here. Adam, I think Trump agrees with you, Nate. And Nate saying it's why he liked Trump. He identifies the failures of the global war on terror. And listen, there were failures, and here's why there were failures. And this is, I think, also why Trump's shit has been more successful. The global war on terror failed. Number one, you're trying to kill an ideology. It's difficult. It's hard to kill an ideology. Damn near impossible. As long as a person lives, the ideology lives. So that is difficult. It's not like you're conquering a place. But on top of that, it became incredibly political quickly with the rules of engagement and the way things were going and how we were going about it. Nobody just let our generals make plans and go do them. There was a lot of sitting around, a lot of bullshit for our soldiers that made them sitting ducks and got them killed for almost 20 years, if not 20 plus years. These have been non-political. The strikes that Trump has done, and even the first one when they killed Soleimani, the politics were out of it. It happened, done. There was no questions. And even with this one, I don't know who's a part of that fucking Gang of Eight in Congress right now, but they did a great job keeping their goddamn mouth shut because Trump and his cabinet and his generals did it the right way. There was reports the Gang of Eight was informed 48 hours beforehand about the strike and approved it. So the Trump administration, this is not an illegal act of aggression. They knew his plan. They know his plan is potentially up to 30 days of fucking bombing. There's also said that they're planning on not putting boots on the ground. This is telling me that the Trump administration and the generals believe that they can use their modern technology with drones and air superiority to win this. And I think the most we'll see boots on the ground is if we see special forces doing operations. But it doesn't, this is the reason why, Nate, I agree with this, is very different than Venezuela, because the object is not to take anybody alive here. It's to fucking kill everyone that they need to. And when our military is just allowed to go and do their job and just kill, there's no one better. There's no one better. And of course, you have the fake fucking bullshit legacy media when Iran had a faulty missile drop on their own school, which is absolutely tragic that a ton of kids and civilians were fucking killed. Uh, they reported that was an American Israeli bombing school intentionally. Like, get the fuck out of here. This is why you can never trust any of the leftist media. They all suck. But let's keep going with Constantine. He's saying, and I understand just as much as the people who celebrate an evil dictator being killed and Iran's nuclear military assets being degraded further. The thing we do not know, and the thing that will determine whether this has been all worth it, is what the future leadership of Iran will look like. This seems to me to be the biggest risk Donald Trump has taken at this time in his first any time in his first or second term. If it pays off, the reward both domestically and globally will be huge. If it doesn't and things go south, it could derail his presidency and define his legacy like Iraq did for Blair and Bush. And here's the thing, and I see people questioning a lot of this. Questioning a lot of this. I don't think Trump doesn't have a plan. And this is why I'm also giving props to the intelligence agency. I think that there is a plan here because I don't think he would have agreed at this time to take out the individuals he did and just leave a vacuum. And I think Trump, like you said, Nate, that he identifies the failures of the global war on terror. Every time we've tried to do this, we've left a vacuum. I don't believe Trump is leaving a vacuum, and I think he signals what he wants. He said from the get-go with Venezuela, the chick that was trying to lean in, the one that got the Nobel Peace Prize, you're not getting power, honey. I'm not putting you in there. And I think in this time, Trump has a plan. I don't know if it's to go back to the Shah. I don't know what it is, but I don't think he goes in there without a plan. He's not the type of person that I think likes to have failure. He doesn't want to have a bad thing on his name, which is why when bad things happen, he sometimes takes a step back and is a little more apologetic and is not saying I'm sorry, but a little more, and I'm looking into this. We need to figure this out first. He doesn't like having this type of shit go backfiring on him. So I do not believe that Trump went into this half-cocked. I don't at all. Nate saying Obama was warring on how many countries without congressional approval, including killing 3 American citizens in assassinations. Yeah, yes. And I looked it up. He is responsible for almost 600 strikes. And he's killed up to almost 800 civilians with 3 Americans. And people are up in arms about what Trump has been doing. Caveats, he's saying he's going to put Alex in charge of Iran. Listen, I'd be in charge of the Persian people. I'm actually a fan of the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire was very forward fucking thinking. It really was. It wasn't as bad as people think it is at all. Sultan Alex, would I take being so? I don't know. I'd want to. I think some of these names are fucking made up. I would want a really cool made up thing. Not Sultan. I don't know if I want to be the Sultan. Maybe I'll be the Sultan of Swing. That's a good one. The Sultan of Swing. Do 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 do. Sorry about that. I'm getting in my own way here. But all right. So let's finish up. Very few people have any idea which of these scenarios is more likely. And one thing is for sure, none of them are talking about it on social media because they're all sitting in command bunkers and not on X. I hope the people of Iran are released from living under tyranny. I hope the peoples of the Middle East can live in peace. I hope the takeaway from any would-be terrorist is the realization that October 7th might not have been such a good idea. I hope that with the Middle East stabilized, the U.S. can turn its attentions to the theaters that really matter in the security of the West, Russia, and China. And this is where I disagree with him a little bit. Caveat, hail Sultan Alex. Czar's not a bad one. Raw general manager of Iran. I'd walk around. I'd get the Eric Bischoff hair if I had that. But this is where I disagree with them a little bit. That they need to focus more on the things that really matter, Russia and China. I like to argue that Venezuela and Iran is focusing on Russia and China. There have not been 2 places, maybe outside of India, that Russia and China have been trying to court. Obviously, with Russia and Iran being so close with oil, China being buddy-buddy with Iran in terms of providing them things and the Belt and Road Initiative. And then obviously Venezuela is a hotspot for both of those countries. I think, and I've said it on the show before, that the reason why Trump is going in the places he's going in is because they are the most important places to China and Russia. And that he is trying to sit there and cut them off at every turn. Because right here, guys, Iran not being able to do deals with China and Russia is, again, big. This is much bigger than people realize. I think there's a strategy here. Like I said, Pakistan and Afghanistan are in an active war. Nobody gives a fuck. Trump's not caring about that war right now. He doesn't give a shit. He wants to let them blow each other up. He doesn't care. Adam saying, ew, India. Hey, we need India. India is a big turn. There's 1 billion people there. We need India, not necessarily to import their people, but just to like manufacturing. Let's take it over to India, away from China. Let's let them build a whole bunch of shit. I'm much friendlier with India and their 1 billion people than China and a lot of other places. We'll finish it off. Whether any of that happens remains to be seen, and it seems the hardest thing for anyone to do is not express an opinion before the smoke is cleared. So, like I said, I don't always agree with Konstantin Kisin, but I did like that post. I thought that post had a lot of things that I shared, minor things I disagree with. Adam saying we're going to conquer the world's oil supply. Do not redeem. Thank you, Nate. But I do think that he did a good job of expressing what am I trying to say here? Expressing a lot of the same things that I had to feel about it. So good on Constantine. Now getting to a little bit more on that as well. David saying hola. Hi, Dave. Are you at work, David? If not, I didn't even tell you I was coming on, so it's kind of my fault. But with that, we need to see the big picture also geopolitically. And this is one thing that bothers me. I don't think many people understand the geopolitical picture of many things. How many more times can I say geopolitical? But Trump is not caring about the shit that doesn't affect us. Like I said, he doesn't care about Afghanistan and Pakistan. He'll get to that and try to solve that when he can. He cared about India and Pakistan because India is important to what he's trying to do. Modi is important as a world leader to Trump. Everything that he is trying to do is important for getting what we need to get done. Does he want to end Russia and Ukraine? Yes, he wants to end Russia and Ukraine desperately. But the more Russia's occupied, the less they could do everywhere else. What are they? They haven't done shit about Iran. Iran's supposed to be one of their member partners in BRICS. China hasn't done shit about Iran. Trump is not going to places, and we are not going to places that don't matter. He's happy to solve a bunch of these wars and things like that, and be peacemaker. But he's only focused, and this is why people are arguing and saying, "Oh, this is Israel." No, motherfuckers, this is for America. Okay, Israel's a conduit there. And I think this is what people need to realize. Israel's just a conduit in the middle there. And instead of every other president doing it wrong and kind of making Israel be the pressure cooker that pisses off the Middle East, Trump is using them as the center of peace talks and getting these countries. The Abraham Accords have been a stroke of genius. Because you look at it, Jordan has been intercepting missiles, which I love the memes that LeBron could never, which is great. But Jordan is participating in intercepting missiles. The UAE got a bomb, and the UAE is like, fuck this. We condemn, and we're going against them. Never in a million years would you see other Middle Eastern countries coming together to try and defend an Israeli mission against Iran. Another one. Like, it doesn't happen, guys. This doesn't happen. So the stroke of genius there to try and stabilize that region has been massive. People need to understand, Israel's not using America. America uses Israel. Okay, guys? Like, this is... I know people can point to, well, there's Jewish people that are dual citizens. Anyone that's a Jew can get dual citizenship over in Israel. It's not very hard. If you have Jewish lineage, you can fucking call them up and you're right away in Israeli. It's almost that easy. It's like getting into fucking an online university. All you got to do is apply. Okay? It's not very hard. So to sit there and like do your big navigations of this person in high power is also a Zionist, like that means nothing, guys. It really means nothing. When you look at the grand scheme of things, how long do you think Bibi and Israel wanted to attack Iran? Both times. How long do you think they wanted to attack Iran? And both times, what did they do? They waited for Trump because the US is using Israel. It is not the other way around. TC Hero, yo, how's it going? Thanks for hanging out. All right, what else I want to get to? The thing is, we'll see how Iran works out. I like Konstantin Kissin's post. We'll see how Iran works out. Right now, unfortunately, we have a few dead, and that sucks. But strategically, most things seem to be going our way. Nate saying, I think there's legitimate criticism of the relationship. Like, why is there anti-BDS laws? Honestly, Nate, I think the short and long answer to that is Trump is a classical Clinton Democrat, and they were still very much against anti-Semitism. So I really think that is just it, that he's very classic anti-Semitism, and he very leans towards that way. But I agree. Listen, I think that it's okay to be critical of any relationship governmentally. I'm okay with that. I'm okay to sit there and question how much we get out of Israel, right? I'm okay with all of those questions. And you should be able to question anything. We do provide a lot to Israel and things like that. But to sit there and with these conspiracies like, ooh, they control everything. Like, you're retarded. We're the superpower, not them. We are the world power. They don't control us. We control everybody else. They're a speck. We use them. Drives me crazy. TC Hero saying, yeah, I came in on an interesting topic. And then you have Caveat Ties doxing. Adam saying, same Nate, it's sketchy, but we don't know what's going on in the Situation Room. So Caveat Ties saying about the Abigail campaign. Tell me about the Abigail campaign. Adam saying, why not have Sydney Sweeney president of Iran? There's something about her, but she seems smart. She's very smart. Nate saying, dollar for dollar, Saudi lobby is heavier. I understand that. But if I don't like Israel, I can't be a government employee. And listen, the Qatari lobby is bigger too. Listen, there's also the part of Israel, the fact that the West created it and the United States was a big part of that. Okay. I think there's a lot of that going on, that we did create it. So as a Western nation, as the leader of the West, there's a lot of skin in the game of Israel surviving because we put them there. And I just think from the old school perspective, if you are anti-Israel, then we're not going to allow you to be in and have influence over our different relations. Comic book we have coming out, Kickstarter is going. Caveat, where is it? I got to go find it. What's the name of it? It's Abigail. You got to give me the Kickstarter thing so I can promote it. I want to promote the Kickstarter right now. Give it to me. But yeah, so that's my thing on that. I think that you can question all you want about Israel. You can. And there's fair things to question. There is some sketchy shit, but I will never sit there and people be like, they control everything. Like, no, how can you be so low IQ to think they control everything? I mean, it is blatant anti-Semitism, right? Because there were a lot of Jews that are in a lot of power, but then again, there were a lot of Indians in a lot of power, a lot of white people in a lot of power, a lot of black people, a lot of everyone in really powerful places. There's a lot of Swedish people. The Swedish banks are not all Jews, guys. I hate to break it to you, but it's just people need a reason for why they perceive something is going wrong. And it's just Jews have been the scapegoat forever. Forever. Listen, when Jews do something wrong, they should get criticized. You shouldn't sit there and be not allowed to be mad at someone just because they're Jewish. You're not anti-Semitic for having a legitimate criticism against a Jewish person. Like Tyler Oliveira, we watched the Curious Joel one. He just did one about Lakewood and Jackson, which are neighbor towns to my hometown back in Jersey. You can see right there, Manchester. It's where I'm from. And I thought Tyler's been very fair in his criticism and in his curiosity about the Hasidic Jew community. Does it make him anti-Semitic? Those questions are valid. You can have them. But to just sit there and go, well, the Jews do everything. It's like, you just don't want to think then. You're refusing to want to think that there's any other possibility or wanting to think that there's anything else in the world besides a bunch of evil Jews trying to take things over. Like, you're fucking crazy, man. Like, it just drives me crazy. TC Hero saying it's our foothold into the East and agree with me. Adam is saying I'm being paid by the Jews. They saw me as a threat and offered me money to defend them. Listen, Adam, this presentation and this, I'd be in a studio somewhere. I wouldn't be in my goddamn office doing a podcast if they gave me money. Like, honestly, Jews, pay me money. Israel, where you at? Pay me money. And you know what I'll do? I'll criticize you when you fuck up and I'll defend you when you don't. Same thing I've been doing, goddammit. I won't change. The money won't change me, bro. But all right, I had much more to get to here. I think I'm going to end on this because I did want to get to Epstein and stuff, but we're close to 2 hours and I don't want to go that much further than 2 hours. But I think I want to end on this. Okay. So Adam, that's what they told you to say. Yes. Yes. Oh, I'm lagging? Let me know if I'm back. See, it's because I talk bad about the Jews. Now I'm lagging. They're making me lag because I didn't go full Rabbi Israel. The government's coming after me. Nate, you're onto this. You're onto this. I could never work for the government. But all right. So here's my last thing that I want to end out with, because one of the most tedious things that I see is whenever you talk to a leftist or anyone that is opposed to the way immigration is going, and you tell them, well, these immigrants, the illegal immigrants are committing a crime, right? What's one of the things that they defend with? No, guys, it's not a crime. It's not a crime for them to cross. It's just a misdemeanor. By number one, a misdemeanor is still a crime. But these people are retarded and they think felonies are only crimes. But a misdemeanor still can give you jail time. But I have a way to solve this. And it's an easy way to solve it. Now, I don't know if the Senate's going to get along because the Senate fucking sucks. But I know the House could pass this. But they need a bill to update the charge for being caught as an illegal for the first time. Because the second time it is a felony. The second time it's completely and totally a felony. You can go to jail for up to 20 years. Nope. They need to upgrade it for the first time. The first time that you are getting caught as an illegal, it should be a felony right away. Caveat, I see most of them. I think my chats aren't posting on here. I see most of them. I see my chat lagged. That's why too. I didn't see 2 of them. So I think you're posting. TC Hero saying, I feel like we're at the point where the conspiracies were true about many things, but now comes overcorrection where everything could be a conspiracy. Completely correct. Yes, 100%. So TC Hero saying, and that's not a healthy outlook. Adam saying, Alex Jones used to be right. Yeah, Alex Jones is still right. Kickstarter, Abigail issue number 1, baby doll. Let me go look that up and then I'll finish my rant. Kickstarter, Abigail, baby doll, number 1. Haha. By some weirdos named Crimson Titan Comics, though, so I guess we gotta like them. But so We'll definitely bring that up, caveat. 100%, 100%. Yeah, I just saw that one. Thank you. Adam saying, nah, libertarians are rarely correct nowadays. Alex Jones isn't a full libertarian, though. He's not a full libertarian. But anyway, I want them to pass a law that makes border crossing the first time a felony. 100% make it a felony, because then what are the leftists going to say? Well, it's not a crime. Nope. It is a full-fledged federal felony where if you are caught the first time, you can either get deported or face 20 years in prison as a felony. Done. Period. No other questions. There's no issues here. It takes away a full argument, and this should be an easy bill to pass. We are upgrading it to a felony, and then the next one could be a more severe felony count. Okay. And it could be up to like 15 years in prison, 20 years in prison for the felony in the first one, second time, whatever it is. But we can do something more severe. Now, again, it'll be either deport or felony, right? So it could still just be grab him and get him the fuck out. But in the end, it is a felony. It is a full and total felony. And I think that would solve a lot of problems too, because then, number one, the enforcement has a little more teeth because it's not just a misdemeanor. But number two, it takes away the argument from the left. And anytime you could defeat the left by their own argument, is just fine. Because then they can't say, well, it's not a crime. No, motherfucker, it's a crime. It's not just a misdemeanor anymore. It's a felony. So that is the final rant that I want to end on. The last thing that I want to see happen. So there is much more that I want to get to, and there's much more I will get to. And like I said, I will do the Hangout streams much more again. Nate, I definitely want to watch the thing that you sent me. So we'll do that. Adam saying Alex Jones is a Trump panic. And listen, Alex Jones is also someone who is fully on that the Twin Towers were a plant and that they were blown up that they were intentionally blown up. I don't believe that. I am not a Twin Towers truther. I never have been. I always thought the arguments against terrorists fucking hitting it and them collapsing were dumb. I think it's just people that want to make up shit. So I've always thought Alex Jones was sketchy, and I've never thought Alex Jones was fully on the right, guys. He was not fully on the right. So Adam saying he was right about Owen, to be fair. Alex Jones' batting average is higher than most pro players. That TC Hero saying Alex Jones is pretty smart. He knows a lot, but he has a bizarre way of communicating. And Adam saying he's smart, just not always on the mark. And that's true. And listen, Alex Jones will tell you that he just reads the news and he interprets the news and he regurgitates it. That's what he does. That's how he's made his career. Does he always interpret it the right way? No. But he also exposed Bohemian Grove 20 years ago, or whatever it was, 15 years ago, before we even know. And now they just released a list of people who went to the Bohemian Grove summer outing. It's like all the things that we told, the Bilderbergs, Bohemian Grove, all these things that we were told didn't exist. So, and they're all out in the open now. They don't care. They know that rich people are plotting to do shit to the world, and they do not care. All right, last few things we're going to do here is, first, Nate sent me that thing about Mr. Dangle. So let's see what this character has to say. So Steve McGuire has losing the gold medal game, broke the Canadian media. Wow. So let's see what this Canuck has to say.
Hey, we look forward to the U.S. Beating our soon-to-be 51st state, Canada. You fucking asshole. We'll never be your 51st state. Mm-hmm. And that's got nothing to do with hockey. That's got everything to do with you motherfuckers showing up at our front door.
What's hilarious is whenever Canada talks tough, it's just fun to laugh at them. It's just fun to laugh at them because they couldn't do anything even if we wanted to go and take them over. Because even the one that's supposed to defend them, Britain, they couldn't do anything either. All right, let's keep going.
With guns and tanks and shit. Of course we're going to feel a certain type of way about that. And you're the captain of a Canadian NHL team, Austin, Brady. Connor Hellebuck might as well be. Quit.
Here's the thing. You want to know what I have to say to that? Maybe the Canadians should be better than the Americans so they could be captains of their own teams. Bazinga! Kick rocks.
Until a couple months ago.
Quinn until a few months ago, and you shook hands with that motherfucker? Fuck you. That dude threatened the place where I live.
And by the way, Canadians taking this seriously, he didn't threaten nothing. He had no intention of taking your stupid country. He was trying to troll Trudeau, and it worked. And you Canadians are just baby back bitches. Let's finish this.
And actively continues to do so. And I'm supposed to just look at you and feel fine about that? Fuck you.
So yeah, he lost it. And I do want to say, for reference, the best thing possible that could happen to Canada is if they were to become a 51st state. Would suck for us. Be great for them. Let's get some comments here. TC Hero saying, yeah, that's super fair. It's kind of illegal. Adam saying, Tower 7, though, he predicted 9/11. So did Nostradamus, right? I do think the Tower's insurance money scandal is an interesting theory, potentially. Nate saying, yeah, Alex does good. He just doesn't debate. He's way too emotional. Oh, excuse me. He sunk a debate that Glenn Greenwald was schooling Destiny and the Krasen team midgets. Yes, he did. That debate was ugly. What was it? The zero hedge debate. Yeah, he was insane. TC Zero saying, haha, it's true. Older military is puny and pathetic. It's heartfelt. I don't want them. Yeah. So that is how we're going to end that. We are going to fully end off here on sharing our friend over here, Mr. Caveat Ties, Crimson Titan, everyone. We are going to share their Kickstarter for, if you are able to, please go and support. Abigail over here. Oh, do you have a little preview? Let's see. What do we got?
Hi, everybody. I hope your 2026 has been going well. Yes, we know that it's been a bit crazy since the beginning of the year, but you know what? We're here to distract ourselves from all of that because I've got some exciting news. So those of you who have been following me for a while know I have a project I've been working on known as Abigail. It is a 1920s horror romance that I've been working on.
I do like what you guys do in Crimson Titan. You guys are going a lot of like the old school style stuff. I know you got some future, but the 1920s here and stuff, I'm here for it. I am here for it. Okay. But as much as I love this, 3 minutes and 20 seconds, I might be mean, but we can read about it too. So everyone, quickly, 44 days ago, $183 already here. We want to get them to their goal of 3K. Absolutely go. And if you want the story completely, here it is. And I'm excited. I'm always happy to support you guys over there, Crimson Titan. Small creators, 100% need the support because the only way we stop being small is if we get the support. So 100%, if you can, go support Crimson Titan. Caveat, she's the artist. I wrote the adaptation. So we need to support you even more, damn it. That's fucking awesome. I love it. I love how much work you're doing, Roland. Nachi saying, I agree, TC. Dude's insurance scam is super shady. It is, again, question everything. I'm okay with that. I'm just not a truther. But yeah, everybody go support them. Go to that Kickstarter and go do it. And no AI. I like that. No AI. That's okay. I like that you're doing that. I like that you're standing up for yourself. You and Yellow Flash are very hard on that. Phoenix from Side Score is very big on going against the AI stuff. But all right, everybody. I appreciate you all for watching. Appreciate everyone that hung out. I know it was a long time since I've done a Hangout stream, and I still have more to say, but it is late. I have work tomorrow. I want to go to bed. And like I said, I don't like staying too much longer past 2 hours. So thank you everyone for watching. Adam, TC Hero, Caveat Ties, Nate, all of you guys popping in, David saying hello. I appreciate you all. Anyone that out there, wherever you watched from, if you haven't smashed the like button, do that now. If you haven't followed or subscribed, do that now. If you haven't gone and found my ex post where I called out the senators and want them to stand behind Mike Lee, go find that. And make sure if your senator's on there, tag your senator. Tell them that you want them to stand behind Mike Lee. so that Speaker Thune knows that they want you to do that. And that Mike Lee will have people supporting him. We put pressure, because when we put pressure on Congress, they fold like cheap suits. So go do that. I appreciate you all. I will be back definitely Wednesday. 100% Wednesday, I'll be back. We have another great show coming up. And then on top of that, I will try to do more Hangout streams. Some changes are afoot still, but absolutely, I will see you guys later. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate you all. I'll be back. So long, y'all.